Welcome back. So, a bit of an eye opener. This article that we came across and we want to follow up on. I'm looking at the pictures posted by a local a Montrealer. Her name is Carol Duwato. And the four items we see that she posted, and I'm going to start with the biggest one that kind of we both sat and looked at each other and went, how can that be? So,
Yeah.
ketchup, Heinz ketchup, by the way, brand name.
Organic.
Yeah, organic ketchup at the dollar store, Dollarama. Same bottle, same size, same everything else. It is $3.25 at Dollarama. $9.49 at what we think is IGA at one of the big grocery stores. And this goes on and on. She has one posted for Kraft peanut butter, same huge discrepancies, which kind of brought up the question of how can this actually be? You can imagine paying a few cents less.
Even
These
a
are
dollar.
dollars
like
less.
I could think $1, but not like that's
Yeah.
a crazy discrepancy. $3.25 to $9.49 for the exact same bottle of ketchup.
So we want to find out how this happens, why this is happening, and maybe, I guess, if you're made aware that this is happening, maybe you sort of decide to think twice before you go out and just drop $10 on a jar of peanut butter or $6 when you could buy it for $3.50 for the exact same jar at a Dollarama store. And we're not promoting Dollarama here. I'm just saying that's where these price differences are seen.
Listen, we do know that people, because people are feeling the pinch, they've been shopping more than ever for groceries at Dollarama, myself included. I find myself buying way more food at Dollarama than I ever have.
Which makes sense now that you see these prices,
Exactly.
right? Sylvain Charlebois is the food professor. He's at Dalhousie University. Sylvain, I know you're quoted in the story. So can we start with the basic here? How can there be, why is there, say a $5 price disparity for a bottle of ketchup, for God's sake, from a major grocery chain to Dollarama? How is this happening?
Well, I mean, each retailer will have a different relationship with suppliers, and retailers will look for different things. If you compare, say, IGA with Dollarama, they're two very different business models. Dollarama will carry very few SKUs to support their line of food products, and they don't have perishable products, just so you know. So they look for margins, standard margins, while IGA will absolutely look at volume. They will look at demand. And the customer showing up at IGA is just not the same customer showing up at Dollarama. This is the one thing that people may not appreciate. When you go to Dollarama, you're looking for deals. That is it. At IGA, you're going to be, if you're buying ketchup, you may be looking for buns. You may be looking for meat as well to go along with your hamburger. And you may actually be buying relish. You want everything all in one place because you don't have the time. That difference, basically, you're charged for the time you're not spending going to different places.
So the first thing when we saw the story this morning, I said to you, Natasha, was I got to imagine maybe the expiry dates on what you're buying at the dollar store, maybe they're either just expired or they're shorter till expiration, but that's not necessarily the case,
or
right?
that somehow perhaps it's a lower grade product, that it's not as good quality.
Oh, that's a good question. I did ask the reporter that exact question about things before dates, and there was a 1 day difference between the two.
No
It's not the issue. And it's organic, as you mentioned. It is an organic product, so and typically you wouldn't find many customers looking for organic products at Dollarama. But this is what's going on right now. If you're a smart shopper, you're not going to buy ketchup at IGA, I can tell you that.
Well, I've been and
you won't
organic
now.
But interestingly that you seize upon the organic part, Sylvain, because I like I said, I never used to think to buy stuff at Dollarama, but my favorite rice crackers, organic ones, are there for $1.25 now. Like compared to the store, they're $2.99 at most grocery stores. So the consumer, I think, is also changing. The products clearly are changing. Our consumer habits changing too.
Oh, absolutely. Full disclosure, I mean, my salary is public. You can look it up. I earn over $200,000, and I spend time at Dollarama buying food. There you go.
More than ever.
Exactly. You're signaling a trend that we know has already begun, right? People are doing this more and more. I want to ask a question with respect to this. Look, as I said off the top, it's one thing if it was 50 cents or as Natasha said, $1. That jar or that container of ketchup at the Dollarama store is $3.25. It's $9.50, $9.49 at IGA, and it's the exact same bottle. And I would have thought, to your point, if you're IGA, you're buying massive quantities. You have stores across the country, probably even more than the dollar store. You'd think you'd get a better price from the manufacturer than the dollar store would.
And by the way, Dollarama will never set a limit for the number of items you're allowed to buy, by the way.
Oh.
At $3 a pop, I would imagine that they're having a hard time stocking. But, you know, a lot of people don't get it. If you actually are very careful, you can save a lot of money. But I suspect that a lot of listeners are saying, oh, IGA is gouging people. I don't think they are. If you actually change prices and you set all prices the same, if Dollarama would have been selling ketchup at the same price as IGA, people would accuse both of price fixing.
That's
Right,
true.
yeah.
But again, the question I had was, usually you know, when you're retailing, the more you buy, the bigger the quantity, the better a price you get from the people selling you the item. And I would think that an IGA or Metro, whatever it would happen to be, would be getting a better price than Dollarama, but clearly that's not the case. Or their margins have to be so much bigger.
And like I said, Dollarama is after deals, so they'll call Kraft Heinz in this case, and they'll basically ask, do you have a surplus? And this time of year, we're past the big barbecue season. So my guess is that there was excess inventory at Kraft Heinz and they wanted to liquidate. They have permission from other retailers to sell at a lower price, because I suspect that IGA would be upset seeing Dollarama dumping ketchup in the market. Clearly, they've given their okay. And that's probably why you're seeing ketchup at a very, very low price right now in the month of September.
Okay, so it wouldn't necessarily drive the price down at IGA then?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Because like I said, the customer showing up at IGA is a different customer that's showing up at Dollarama. That's why IGA doesn't feel threatened.
So I would say that's fine. I'll buy the argument, and I think it's a really good one as far as ketchup goes, right? End of season, which is why you might find something at Dollarama for a really good price, and then you go back a month later and they don't have that item anymore, right? But peanut butter, that's a 12-month-a-year item. It's $3.50 at Dollarama, same jar, $5.99 at IGA.
I buy my ketchup. I buy my ketchup, and I buy my peanut butter
Apparently.
at Dollarama.
So is go ahead.
And my kids don't care where it's from.
Yeah,
there
they
is that.
They just don't.
Yeah.
As long as it's in the cupboard, right? But what I'm wondering
Exactly.
is this idea, Sylvain, like when you go to Dollarama, like you said, you're looking for a deal and you kind of buy whatever product they happen to have that is a good deal. You don't specifically always hope to find the same thing there, right? Whereas when I go to the grocery store, I'm going to fully expect that they have all the brands and all the options.
Exactly. It's a bit like Costco. Costco's model is pretty simple. It's 4,000 SKUs, 15%. Everything they sell, they make 15%. They don't carry all the same items all the time. They will actually go after suppliers who can offer them a good deal, and I'll carry a product if they can make 15%. That's basically how it works. Dollarama works a little bit like that with food.
And what about this idea that there's not a house brand to compete with? So perhaps they want to keep those prices high of the name brands so they can sell their house brand.
They don't discriminate against brands. Absolutely. Because right now, grocers, they know everyone's trading down. So private labels are becoming more popular. But Dollarama doesn't have that problem.
You know, it's at the end of the day, hopefully this is a tip for everybody. If you didn't, I had not been aware of this at all till we talked about the story and saw this post this morning. But there you go. You want to save some money, and everyone wants now, counting your pennies, some of this stuff at a place like Dollarama. These are huge savings.
But here's the thing. We're not talking pennies here.
No, we're talking big
dollars.
bucks. Yeah. Yeah, no question.
And if it's good enough for Sylvain Charlebois, I mean, hey.
That's right.
Listen, I tell you, if you do your homework as a consumer, you won't feel as vulnerable. That's the thing. I think that's the most important message here.
Hey, as always, want to thank you for the time, Sylvain. We appreciate it. Take care.
All right, take care.
All right, there you go. Sylvain Charlebois, the food professor. And look, I'd love to know if you have been through this. We mentioned ketchup and peanut butter because they're the two in the actual sort of pictures that were posted.
Mayonnaise, crackers, salad dressing. These are some of the other ones that this woman has posted. You've got a Ruffles dip, salsa, all these kinds of things. You can save big bucks on.
I'm wondering, because I know this is something happening in the States. Some of the dollar stores there are now starting to sell fresh produce. Here, Dollarama doesn't. I wonder if eventually that's what's going to happen here too.
Look at Walmart now.
Right? Dollarama? To buy everything? Like food?